Hey guys, and today I'm sharing with you my coconut crumble muffins. These are dairy-free, they're gluten-free, and they are sugar-free, as in no added sugars. They are delicious. They're a perfect little healthy treat to have with your cup of coffee or tea. Let's go right ahead and get started. I have 2 bananas here. As you can see, they're not the ripe. They are really perfect and ripe, perfect for eating, but they're not overripe is what you would typically see people making muffins with. But if you do have overripe bananas, go ahead and use those. This is what I had on hand, and that's what I was going to use. So you're just going to need 2 bananas that are ripe, at least some sort of ripeness going on. I'm going to get my whisk here and just smash these bananas up. You don't want to use a fork, just use a whisk because we're going to just continually cream this as we're going along. So just give it a good mix for about a minute or so, just to get it nice and creaming, and then we're going to go ahead and add in our coconut oil. This is also dairy-free, and we'll be using a lot of coconut ingredients, but they're delicious. So we are going to add in our coconut oil, and we're going to give this a mix. All the amounts will be listed below in the description box. As I'm adding each layer of my wet ingredients, I'm going to keep whisking, so that way it breaks up the banana a little bit more, so we have a smoother consistency of the banana. I'm having a nice hot cup of coffee right now. So we just give that a nice mix. As you can see, I'm adding in my wet ingredients and I'm mixing it, and it's just going to break up that banana. So I've added in 1 tablespoon of vanilla extract, and I'm giving that a mix. I'm actually going to be adding in 2 tablespoons, but I'm giving it a mix after each tablespoon just to keep mixing that banana. I got this really large bottle of vanilla extract on Amazon, and it is such a good price. I mean, the amount of vanilla I use, y'all, I need it. I'll leave that link below in case you're interested. And we are also going to need some orange extract. I'm just going to use about 1 teaspoon of orange extract. You can use orange zest if you don't have orange extract, but the flavor of the orange, you need it. It's so good. So good. Give that a mix as you add it in. And now we're adding in our 2 large eggs. And like I said earlier, you can make this vegan just by substituting it for whatever you would typically substitute your eggs for, such as applesauce or like your flax egg or whatever. We're just going to also mix in that egg and just whisk that really well. Now we're going to add in our coconut milk. I am using this coconut milk that comes in the carton. It is literally just 2 ingredients, which I love. It is water and it is coconut. It is unsweetened coconut milk as well, just water and coconut, and it is such an amazing consistency. If you do not have coconut milk, you can use coconut yogurt if you are trying to keep this dairy-free, as well as you can use almond milk or just regular milk if you're not really concerned about adding any dairy to this. But use whatever milk that you typically use, or you can substitute it with a yogurt of choice. If you have coconut yogurt or vanilla yogurt, will work perfect as well. And now for our flavorings, our spices. I'm going to be adding in some ground nutmeg, some ground cinnamon, and some ground allspice. If you don't have allspice, you can leave that out. You want about a 1/4 teaspoon of ground nutmeg, about a teaspoon of ground cinnamon, and about 1/8 of a teaspoon of ground allspice. I'll have all that listed below for you. It's going to lend amazing flavor to this, so you really want to add those spices to it. So we used allspice. We also used nutmeg and ground cinnamon. And of course, this is gluten-free, so I am using coconut flour for this. There goes my 1 teaspoon of baking powder, and I'm going to be adding in my coconut flour. I'm sifting it just to make sure that it comes out nice and fine. Now, this is not going to be like your typical muffin where it's soft and fluffy, because there's really none of that flour in there. But that's kind of the point, is I don't want to have any flour in it. So I'm using coconut flour. I'm going to add that in and I'm going to sift it. Again, it's not going to be super light and fluffy. It's going to be more dense and crumbly. That's why I call it my coconut crumble muffins. It's going to be crumbly, but it's going to have amazing flavor. For no extra sugar added, no dairy, and no gluten. It has delicious flavor, and it's perfect with a cup of tea or coffee. Now, if you know what pay me is, I have found it to have that kind of texture of a pay me and even like a taste of a pay me. If you know what that is. Other than that, I really don't know how to describe it. But it's delicious, and that's what we want. We want something that tastes good, essentially, but is also good for you. I started off with my whisk here just to give it a gentle mix, but I'm going to switch over to my spatula. And you'll see that this comes out really much like a cookie dough. The consistency of it is very much like a cookie dough. I am adding currants to this. Now, if you don't have currants, you can use raisins, of course. But the currants have such amazing tangy, and it's just, I love currants. I really recommend using currants, but if you don't have it, of course, just use raisins. I'll leave a link down below if you can't find currants. Currants they're just really hard to find, but the flavor is so good. I'm switching over to my spatula here just to kind of mix that in. You see how this is very much like a cookie dough. It's going to be very crumbly and moist, and it's just going to be delicious. So I'm going to be using my ice cream scoop to scoop into my cupcake liners. 1 ice cream scoop to make the perfect and beautiful. It just looks like cookie dough. It's just perfect. You want to preheat your oven to 375 degrees. Make sure that it's nice and preheated and ready to go. Finish scooping these up, and I'm going to place these in my oven. It's going to bake for about 15 to 20 minutes until it gets lightly golden, or nice little, I like to let it go until it gets like a nice little dark crunchy top. But you don't want to bake these too long because the bottom will get a little bit burnt. So I'm just going to let them go for about 15 to 20 minutes in the oven at 375. I also wanted to show here, you can also add a little bit of ground flax to this just to add a little bit of, more nutrition to it. And also, if you don't want to use the coconut milk, if you don't have it, just go ahead and substitute it with yogurt. Coconut yogurt also works really well. And these will bake again for 15 to 20 minutes until they get a nice light golden, or like these little golden strips on it. They're perfect with a cup of coffee or tea, for a nice little morning snack. If you like to have something sweet or with your coffee or your tea, which I really do with my coffee. They are not your typical muffin, but they are still delicious. They're still soft, and they've got a lot of flavor going on. I hope that you give them a try, and I really hope that you enjoy it. And I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.